Ah, nature. The fresh air, the trees, the birds, the sense that you're not alone. Humans have discovered so many strange and unusual and frankly unbelievable animals, but scientists estimate that we've only discovered around 10 to 20% of the species that are on the planet. It can make you wonder, what else is out there? Here, in this cold and murky lake in Scotland, the Loch Ness Monster is said to live.
The best view I ever had was the very first in 1934. I saw the head, the neck and the huge body, which I'd say was about 30 feet long.
Despite many such reports, the existence of this large, mysterious creature, which has come to be known as Nessie, has never been confirmed. There have been many searches for Nessie over the years. The largest of them all took place just recently, with hundreds of people going out on boats, lowering microphones into the water, and watching the lake intently on a live stream broadcast around the world. But still, if there is a Nessie, we don't know what it is. This is the most iconic picture we have, and it was found to be a fake. Yeah, apparently it's just a toy submarine with a plastic head on it. And there have been heaps of rational explanations for the other sightings. Like maybe it was a giant eel, or an escaped circus elephant. Some have thought that Nessie is actually a plesiosaur.
But the problem with that is if you've had plesiosaurs survive from the Cretaceous period, from the time of the dinosaurs until today, you'd need a large, stable breeding population to avoid inbreeding and extinction. So if the Loch Ness Monster exists, you have to believe that there are thousands of Loch Ness Monsters out there.
This theory was also ruled out by scientists who did environmental DNA testing on the water from the lake and didn't find any trace of any large prehistoric reptiles. But still, there's enough mystery and doubt to give some people hope that they might one day find Nessie. This is all a part of cryptozoology.
Well, cryptozoology is the big word, really. It's the big word for hunting mythical creatures.
The term was invented by Ivan T. Sanderson and Bernard Heuvelmans in the 1950s. Heuvelmans wrote about sea serpents. He gathered hundreds of pages on sea serpent reports from the 19th century to validate that they were there, just due to a multitude of sightings.
Cryptozoologists study cryptids, animals of legend or extinct animals thought by some to exist today. This includes the thylacine.
The thylacine is the Tasmanian tiger. It's a marsupial that looked like a dog or a wolf. It went extinct in the 1930s.
Despite unconfirmed sightings of the animal in recent years, most experts think it is truly extinct.
Tasmania is not a very big state, and there's been a lot of people looking for Tasmanian tigers over many, many years, and they still haven't found any firm evidence of it yet. So I'm pretty sure that, unfortunately, it's no longer with us.
Then there are the cryptids that may or may not have ever existed, like the Blue Mountains panther, or the Hawkesbury River monster, or the hoop snake. Yeah, they get weird. George Mitrovic is an author who likes to explore the unknown.
I write about lots of things: strange archaeology, cryptozoology, cosmology, UFOs as well.
And he reckons there's a lot out there that we don't properly understand yet.
They are creatures that are still a puzzle to us that we have not been able to identify or catch. So we have to use data hunting. We have to look at how they behave by going through every single report and finding the themes in the reports and the variations. I use proper data that comes from published sources and lots of it.
But unlike zoology, cryptozoology is considered a pseudoscience, because although there are lots of stories and anecdotes out there, that's not scientific proof.
There's a lot of evidence, but it's poor evidence. And a lot of poor evidence doesn't make good evidence.
Tim Mendham is a part of Australian Skeptics, a group that investigates pseudoscientific and paranormal claims from a scientific perspective.
We're not debunkers, we're not going to say no straight away, but we do actually look for the evidence, and that's what we're about. If someone says they can fly, we say, show me.
And he'd love to be convinced that amazing creatures like the Loch Ness Monster do exist.
There's nothing convincing. I mean, especially for someone like me who's just looking for evidence and proof, it's frustrating.
But even without that kind of proof, the fact that all of these stories exist is of great interest to people like Professor Graham Seal.
Folklorists like me aren't usually interested in whether the creatures exist or not, whether the stories are actually true. We're just interested in the stories and collecting them, as I said, and trying to understand what they might mean to people and why people keep telling them and sharing them. Humans like to understand everything if we can. You know, we like to think we're running the planet. When we don't understand something, or when we can't find a scientific explanation for it, I think we have to find something to fill the hole.
Among the most hotly contested cryptids is the many variations of Bigfoot, like Australia's Yowie.
They stand on 2 feet. They're usually hairy, human-like, sometimes short, sometimes tall, depends on the stories.
But it stood at least 14 foot tall by the time it emerged from the water.
14 feet?
Yes. And as it got nearer and was about to make the kill, it started crying, "Yowie! Yowie! Yowie!" in a voice similar to that, though not quite the same.
Many stories surrounding these creatures attempt to explain what they are, where they live, and why they're so hard to find. Some tales include a message or moral, like a cautionary tale. For example, there are many different tales of the Bunyip, but one of the scariest says that if you take too many fish from the river, the Bunyip will know, and it'll get you. It could be easy to dismiss a lot of cryptids as ridiculous and far-fetched, but some animals that do exist are so unusual, it was once hard for scientists to believe it. There couldn't possibly be a blend of zebra, donkey, deer, and antelope with a genetic link to giraffes.
Okapi!
Oh, there couldn't possibly be a duck-billed, beaver-tailed, egg-laying mammal.
Platypus!
Oh! American scientists laughed at the idea of a giant lizard on the island of Komodo until the early 20th century, when explorers caught some Komodo dragons and brought them back to the New York Zoo, inspiring the story of King Kong. An ancient creature called the 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 was recently discovered to have hung from trees, just like the fantastical tales of the drop bear that Australians love to tell. But an awful lot of possible sightings of cryptids do turn out to be fake, or hoaxes, or publicity stunts.
The famous walking Bigfoot across the ground in America, it's obviously fake. It's a man in a suit.
But there's enough mystery out there to still give hope to a lot of very passionate monster hunters.
Pretty sure it's just Sasquatch down there.
I found some photos. We wait and see.
Come over to have a look.
And to be fair, there are estimated to be a lot of undiscovered creatures out there.
Most of these species that are unknown and yet to be discovered are very small though, things like tiny insects or little worms. So if you want to find new species, don't use a telescope, use a microscope.
And like a 2018 expedition that tried to find the 𝗦𝗪𝗏𝗪 in the Congo, but ended up discovering a new species of algae, the search for unknown creatures can bring greater interest to exploring, understanding, and taking care of the natural world around us.
Anything is possible. Anything can be found. You don't know if you're going to find it under the ground, up in the sky, swooping down, or just wandering along the landscape near you. And that's why I like exploring them.
Is it likely? Unlikely. Is it fun? Definitely.